I, much like many of the so-called normies at Discord incels spend hours on end ranting about between burps of Monster Energy, am not a fan of anime. I know, boo me, but I don't like it. I've tried it, I've looked at trailers, I've read some manga books and watched some episodes, but it's something about the style, the high fantasy or mechazoid whatever tropes, the nani of it all that just doesn't interest me. Despite me making this abundantly clear to my weeaboo Pokemon catching Steven Universe singing alonging friends, they've still been trying to convert me into one of them to get me into anime and manga. And again, I've tried, but they keep coming up with new arguments to try to force me to like it. So rather than directly confronting my friends about this like a decent, emotionally sound person, I've decided to passive-aggressively write and present some responses to my friends' arguments to say why I won't watch anime and you can't convert me, so stop trying. It's getting really weird and kinda cringy. Come on, those girls over there are literally watching us and giggling. Number 1, saying you don't like anime is like saying you don't like music, movies, art, whatever. No, it's not, and I'll prove it right now by finally putting my bachelor's in linguistics to good use, or use, I guess. If we look at the Merriam-Webster definition for anime, it says, a style of animation originating in Japan that is characterized by stark, colorful graphics depicting vibrant characters and action-filled plots, often with fantastic or futuristic themes. We could break this definition into some notable noun phrases and modifiers. In a style of animation, we see that anime is a subtype or a type of media, in this case a type of animation. The phrase originating in Japan denotes a specific national origin, and phrases like stark, colorful graphics, action-filled plots, and fantastic or futuristic themes describe specific motifs or additives that make anime the mind-melting, mouth-breathing form of media that it is. Now let's look at the definition for music. The science or art of ordering tones or sounds in succession, in combination, and in temporal relationships to produce a composition having unity and continuity. Here we see that music is a type of media, not a subtype, otherwise the definition would say something like a style of art. There is also no specific national origin and no real descriptions of specific motifs in this definition. You could argue that maybe succession or temporal relationships is kinda specific, but things like patterns or the passage of time would only stand out as unique if you're some kind of interdimensional cosmic being not bound by the laws of physics, or you're really tripped out on LSD, I don't know. Finally, here's a definition of bossa nova, popular music of Brazilian origin that is rhythmically related to the samba but with complex harmonies and improvised jazz-like passages. Here we see that bossa nova is a subtype of music indicated at least in part by the word popular, and it also has a specific national origin, it's Brazilian, and specific motifs like complex harmonies and improvised jazz-like passages. This definition has a lot of the same structure as the definition for anime, which means that anime can be considered at the same level of appreciation as bossa nova, not music in general. Therefore, it makes more sense to argue that not liking anime is comparable to not liking bossa nova, and I can understand someone saying I don't like bossa nova more than someone saying I don't like music. The first person is someone that has a more snooty taste, the second person might be a psychopath and should be on some sort of watch list. I myself like bossa nova because unlike anime, I can listen to bossa nova and not get a throbbing headache afterwards. Number 2, it's not that much effort or time. Now one anime I've been getting badgered about is One Piece, and my friends keep telling me to watch the whole thing from start to finish. Now it's not that I have no time to consume media, it's just my time has become more sparing over the years and I try to value it the best I can. That being said, 2 years ago, I set a goal for myself to listen to roughly an album a day, and I'm proud to say I've been fulfilling that goal. The average album will estimate to be about 15 songs at 4 minutes each. That is, if you're not a SoundCloud rapper, then it's like 4 songs at 10 seconds each or something like that. This means that the average album can be estimated to last around 60 minutes or an hour at length. And this is just audio, so I can listen to an album all the way through while doing activities that don't require my hearing, like washing dishes, vacuuming, walking, writing, etc., which maximizes my productivity. One Piece, on the other hand, has 1,150 episodes, and even if you skip the intro, ad break, and outro of each episode, they still come out to 15 minutes each, which doesn't sound like a lot by itself, but 1,150 episodes comes out to 17,250 minutes, 287 and a half hours, or almost 12 straight days of both audio and video, meaning I would have to sit down and watch it through for 15 minutes at a time. That would have been enjoyable when I was a little kid with nothing to do, but I am a depressed adult with a dead-end job and little certainty for my future, so the only thing I'm sitting down to do is either work or sleep. Now you could say, oh, you could watch it dubbed and then listen to it, but even then, if I'm not watching it, I have no idea what's going on. It's just a bunch of high-pitched screaming and explosions. If I wanted to sit through that, I would just listen to hyperpop. I'll put this further into perspective. Within 287 and a half hours, rather than watch One Piece, I could listen to the entire Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's list of 200 definitive albums, which includes artists like Etta James, The Beatles, Nirvana, Coldplay, Sade, Tupac, and so many more. And I would still have roughly 87 hours left to listen to even more albums, anything from ABBA to ZZ Top. By the way, I would be willing to bet that no main character of an anime, even Luffy or whatever his name is, has had as much character and theme development as Michael Jackson went through during the recordings of his early albums, Off the Wall, Thriller, Thriller, Bad, Dangerous, History, and Invincible. That man went through a lot, and he put it all into his music. Number 3, you haven't even really tried it. Now I'll admit, you kinda got me there. I haven't sat through an entire anime series, but I have given it a fair, unbiased try before. I've watched at least 9 episodes of One Piece, I've watched scattered episodes and pilots of different animes that my friends have shown me, I've seen a bunch of trailers for different anime series, and none of them really speak to me. And honestly, that's what pilots and trailers are for. If I watch a 30-second ad for a TV show or a movie that's coming out, I would decide then and there whether or not it's something I want to watch based on if the trailer excites me or amuses me. That's unfortunately how the world works today. And it's how I've been approaching my music exploration too. I often just listen to compilations of sample breakdowns or album rankings, many of which feature just 5 to 10 seconds of a song, and if I like those 5 to 10 seconds, I will do a full discography dive. Tesla Boggs' video on the top 50 experimental songs got me to listen to 4 albums by Little Ugly Mane, 14 albums and 2 EPs by Shushu, and 5 albums, 2 EPs, and a mixtape by Clipping, while also allowing me to determine that I don't really like Scott Walker. By the way, I'll link Tessa's video in the description. That's what previews are for, and if I can make a judgment based on 5 to 10 seconds of a song, I'll make a judgment based on a 30-second anime trailer or 9 whole episodes. Don't judge a book by its cover? I'm sorry, but nowadays when everyone's attention span is entirely shot, skinned, and hung up on the wall, you've got to make the cover more interesting. Number 4.
I will convert you.
Resistance is futile.
Not only does this argument that my friends have actually used on me creep me out, but it reminds me that I have a fancy religious sounding word to use too. Vicarious. Experienced or realized through imaginative or sympathetic participation in the experience of another. Now I know that I've spent this video giving anime the verbal equivalence of what Björk did to that journalist in Thailand, and I deserve the hate I'll get from weeaboos and otakus in the comments, but I genuinely do enjoy anime. I just enjoy it vicariously. I enjoy it because I know it brings my friends a lot of happiness. There's a light in their eyes when they talk about it, and I can appreciate it for the positive impact it's made in their lives. Does this mean I would enjoy everything just because my friends like it? No. If my friends started to wear black trench coats and shoot red paint cans in their backyard, I'd be the first one on the phone with the FBI. But anime doesn't really hurt anybody for the most part, so I'm fine with it. I can watch an anime movie with my friends because I know they're having a good time, and that gives me a good feeling. Which brings me to the point of this video. If you have an interest, whether it's anime, bossa nova, movies, stamps, trains, even the weird sorts of music that I listen to, it's good to share it. It's good to let your friends know what you like and to find out what they like, because you might learn about something new that you otherwise would not have known that you liked had you not had that conversation with them. And while sharing is caring, there's a distinction between sharing and forcing others to like what you like, and it mainly comes down to language. If you talk about your interests by starting with I like, or I love, or I've been really into, you're sharing your interests. You're introducing your friends to not only your interests, but also yourself, making them feel at liberty to explore your interests and get closer to you as they wish. If you start these sentences with you should, or you have to, or I want you to, then you're making demands. You come off of pushing your interests onto others, which makes them feel like they don't have a choice in their interest, to the point where they might feel like if they don't adopt your interests, they can't be friends with you, which shouldn't be the case. If anyone forces you to like what they like, do what I don't have the courage to do and tell them, hey, you're making me uncomfortable right now. I appreciate that you like what you like, and I get that you want to share it with me, but our interests don't have to perfectly align for us to be friends. And if you're telling people what they should and shouldn't enjoy, take a chill pill, or a ochitsute, if that's what you're into. Whatever, I don't know, I don't speak Japanese, but I feel a lot better now getting this off my chest. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.